Okay, folks, real quick. This is how I felt when I say something out to the Fenn community, and then they respond. This is pretty much how I feel. What has gone on for a year now. So just an understanding. All right, that's kind of how I feel when I say something to the Fenn community, and that's what comes back. It's basically just like that. Hi, folks. Dave Woodard, the man from back east. That was pretty cool saying, right? That was pretty profound. As far as finding the right group of people that you want to be involved with, I thought the Fenn community was my group. It's apparently not. I know that I put the $50,000 offer out. I put my house up, and I would keep making the payments. I put my truck. I offered a lot, and all of that holds. I have no doubt in my mind that I am the actual true solver. The thing I'm running into is pretty much giving the information out, understandably. It's so far advanced from the Forrest Fenn community. Forrest Fenn's actual true solve. It's not something that you can hear 9 simple clues and then, oh, it's magic. It's not that. The actual map and the 9 clues are very, very simple. And I put those out multiple different ways. The actual solve is more of an experience that you undergo when you finally realize what Forrest Fenn did. What he created. And that's why I say it's so beautiful, it's so amazing. But nobody seems to understand the level that I'm at compared to what the Forrest Fenn vloggers and other solvers are at. And I'm not mad at anybody for that. That is this creation by Forrest Fenn is something that took him 15 years to build. Pretty much, basically. So what I want to do before I put the layers video out is give everybody some type of explanation of how the actual poem works and where it works, and then why all of the things that I've said work in together, like come into a certain focal point. And that focal point is the Kent and Esther cross at Palisades Cell. That is magic. That is what I should have concentrated on. And you know what? There's evil that has gone on, and there's greatness that's here. I want to put aside the evil. I don't want to blame anyone anymore. I'm turning over a new leaf right now, because when you realize that I'm right, all of the people that understand this and know that this is the actual true solve, they will be looking for answers, and they will be looking for the evil, why everything else is so mixed up and nobody has answers. So I'm going to kind of push aside all of some of my videos that are coming out have a little bit of picking on certain people, but that's I came on strong. I'm a correction officer. I saw something wrong, and I called them on it, and I tried to put my solve out. That was my problem, trying to do both at the same time. But trying to give the information out, that is the important thing. I was trying to let everyone know what the actual true solve is. But again, all I did was the same thing that everyone else is doing. Just pulling in, hey, this... When you say to somebody, hey, look it, there's a palisade here on this page. Nobody gets it. You don't understand what's behind it. Forrest Fenn created a whole backstory inside, incorporated in his stories. And that's what I'm seeing and putting into this layers video. And it is actually quite fascinating how he incorporated different sayings out of each story, and brought this whole thing together to Kent and Esther at that cross. It is, folks, it is amazing. And that's what I'm going to try to get across in a peaceful, friendly way. Okay? That's what I want to do now. I'm done with the blaming, like I said. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try to draw some stick figures in a few things on a erase board here that will kind of explain what happened in the map. Okay? How the map goes and how the clues go. It's so simple. And I'll show you the post-it. How the post-it, like he said, you can fit the map on a post-it, right? I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I don't know absolutely, but I'm pretty sure he said the map you can fit on a post-it. And I'll show you why. It is so simple, but the backstory to validate the whole map and the location is what is so complex and webbed into all different directions of things that connect you with the whole 9 clues in the poem. That's why I said it's so complicated, but yet so simple. When you understand the simplicity of the actual map and you understand the final resting place, then that's when you're going to see all of the other things start to pull into place. And the more you retain as you learn it, the more you go, holy cow, this is incredible. How he incorporated little paragraphs, little one-line sentences to all validate Palisade Sill, New Mexico. And it's so beautiful, and I need to explain it gently and organized so people understand. So that's where I'm heading now. I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you. Let's give this a try. Thanks. Okay, folks, as far as fitting the actual map, now understand, when I explain something, what everybody needs to do is kind of clear your mind. And that's the issue I run into with the Fenn vloggers that have their solves and they believe that they're the solvers. I have no qualms about somebody believing their solve. But when you look at someone else's solve, you cannot put it into your solve. You have to have an open mind and look at what they're telling you, which I can do. I can look at somebody's solve constructively. There's a lot of vloggers that cannot do that. So what you have to do is clear your mind of understanding anything that Forrest Fenn has said. And then with the knowledge you have of the books, accept what I'm about to tell you. Pretty much is what is going to be the actual true solve to Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt. I have bet pretty much everything. Yes, I did not tell my girlfriend. I put those offers out there. They are on video. I have no doubt I will pay up if someone proves me wrong. My point here is I'm going to prove myself right. So, fit the map onto a post-it. That's what we will do right now. When you take the first stanza pinpoints Palisade Sill and where Forrest went in alone, what he took with him, in the explanation of hinting of riches new and old. That right there, he pinpoints Palisade Sill. There's the newer half of the canyon that's younger rock. There's the second half of the canyon, which is older rock. Intrusive igneous rock is the oldest rock in that canyon, which is what Palisade Sill is made of. And that's in my layers video. That's all of these answers are going to be in the different layer videos. But I believe they're probably going to be a couple of those layer videos. I would love to do it all in one. But this is going to be like a mini production. So the second stanza, that is the first part of your map. That's the first part of your map. First stanza, very first clue, all 4 lines. That is clue number 1. Clue number 2, begin it where warm waters halt. That, begin it. It, in this next couple lines, it is the map. That's what he's talking about. When you wonder what, begin it, it's the map portion of his 9 clues. Okay? Begin it where warm waters halt and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk. Period. Those 3 lines are clue number 2. It is clue number 1 to the map. So, Agua Fria Peak is your begin it where warm waters halt. Agua Fria Peak is cold waters peak where warm waters halt. It's that simple. That Agua Fria Peak in Angel Fire. And Angel Fire is in the books. I show you that in my layers. But Agua Fria Peak, that's number 1. Okay? That's your post-it. Let's write that down. I'll show you my bald head. All right. So there's number 1. All right? This is the post-it part. Begin it where warm waters halt. Taking the canyon down, not far but too far to walk. That stretch, there's so much involved with that where not far but too far to walk is the book that he talks about the Vietnam War Memorial. That's on that stretch from the 23 miles. I'm going by memory here. I don't have a lot of this stuff marked down, but it's something like 23 miles. Okay? So, the whole thing. From Agua Fria Peak, it's put in below the home of Brown. So, Agua Fria Peak to Eagle's Nest. Okay, and we'll go over this on the map portion after. But I'm just fitting it on the postage stamp, post-it for you right now. So, Agua Fria Peak over to Eagle's Nest. Eagle's Nest is the home of Brown. It is put in below, down into the canyon. So, Eagle's Nest was known as Therma, the home of the Browns. Okay, it was literally named way back the home of the Browns. Eagle's Nest is your home of the Brown. Okay? Now, from there, it's no place for the meek. That right there is Palisades Hill. There, if you understand, as I have gone alone in there, it's a cycle from the beginning, the very first clue, and how important he said that very first clue was. That is why. Because if you can figure out that very first clue of where you're starting at Palisades Hill, that is everything. That is the magic. When I realized that's where my search area was, I parked in front of that Kent and Esther cross for 4 years without realizing that was the magic right there sitting in front of me. That's what's so incredible about this. That's why somebody in a wheelchair can get to where the treasure was. That's why he said somebody wait in the car. That's why he said don't go anywhere an 80-year-old man wouldn't go. An 80-year-old person, if you take them searching, they're going to stay around the parking area. Bring a sandwich and a flashlight. That's why the picnic area is the next parking lot over from that extra secluded parking lot. And he talks about it, secluded parking lot near a row of Palo Verde trees. That's a palisade. The secluded parking lot is the extra parking. Forrest Fenn created a backstory in here, and that's what I need to get across. Easier for people to understand. But the post-it, Agua Fria Peak, going over to Eagle's Nest. That's your second part of the map. And then, from there, it's no place for the meek. So that map, you get to, from put in below the home of Brown, which is Eagle's Nest, you come down to Palisades Hill. From there, it's no place for the meek. The no place for the meek is the old man face, about 1,000 feet down on your left. That's, mountain men were tough son of a bees. And that's what your no place for the meek is. The mountain man face, the mountain man story, the mountain man rendezvous, the mountain man wisdom. He's giving you clues to all of these different places in the map. That's what he did here. He gave you all the different clues that pull in all of these specific things that are in your simple map. But the map itself is simple. The clues in the books and the hints are what validates all of these positions in the map, in the whole poem. So you are back at Palisade Sill. That's your third position in the map, in the poem. Okay? From there, it's no place for the meek. The old man face. The end is ever drawing nigh. A palisade is a fort, a defensive structure, a row of wooden tree trunks, a row of trees. A palisade, the end is ever drawing nigh. So from there, from where he hid the treasure, okay, across from Palisade Sill, the end is ever drawing nigh. The end is Palisade Sill. You're going to end up staying at Palisade Sill in that map portion of the poem because the end is ever drawing. Drawing is like you're drawing a weapon to defend yourself. Okay? That is the drawing nigh. Nigh is on your left. The Palisade Sill coming down through Cimarron Canyon is on your left. That's the end. He's telling you right there. Palisade Sill is the end of the map. So from there, it's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek. There'll be no paddle up your creek. So from there, there's no paddle up your creek. You do not go down to Maverick Creek. Maverick is very important in the solve. It is part of the map. There'll be no paddle up your creek. That is Maverick Creek. That is Maverick. That is in his clues in the books. He talks about the confidence in a maverick in the first book. Then he talks about Amelia Earhart being an impulsive maverick. But this is what I learned as I looked through. He also said she was also an impulsive maverick. So someone else is an impulsive maverick, which is the original maverick, this is why it's so beautiful, the way it's all interconnected. And it's hard to explain it to fully understand. But the actual maverick, the old original maverick, James Garner, his wife is Lois Clark. Amelia Earhart talks about a letter to her significant other, who ended up being her husband, Putnam, George. So that significance right there. And he said, I will use Amelia Earhart as a illustration to what I'm trying to say. And what he was trying to say is, Amelia Earhart had an important thing about her husband. James Garner, the maverick, the other impulsive maverick, if you look at his wife, it's Lois Clark. The story with the Mountain Man Rendezvous in it, and actually Mountain Man Wisdom, is looking for Lois and Clark. That is, and I've said for a year, it's supposed to be looking for Lois and Clark. Lois Clark is the maverick that connects all of this together with glue as far as validation. But there's so much more. But anyways, to get on, that's your postage stamp right there. That is what Forrest Fenn said as far as the map. So when you get to that point where he says, there'll be no paddle up your creek, you don't go down to Maverick Creek, there's just heavy loads and water high. That's it. That is your actual map. Because heavy loads is gravel pit lakes. Make sense? Gravel pit. You take heavy loads. And one of the three lakes are higher than the other. That is the water high. As I've said before, this is so simple if you can put everything else that you think it might be out of your head and understand these facts and these clues as they line up at Palisade Sill, it all comes clear. And there is, like I said, there's so many levels that I'm going to bring into those layers in the videos. It's so genius. I will probably go down in history as a genius, which I don't feel like I am. But I know that I've solved this poem. I know that I've solved it through everything that Forrest has written in his 3 books. All of the superheroes. I don't even know a total of number that I've come up with so far. I know that the Palisade, I've already had 13 Palisades that I've found. And I've thought of another one that could possibly be. But a couple of the Palisades, he talks about them being 300 feet. Palisade Cell at Cimarron Canyon, New Mexico, is 300 feet high. You'll see in the layers video, but you have to understand, this is just to educate you on how the actual poem works and how you fit the map on a post-it. All right? Basically, that's what I'm going to give you right there. The rest of the poem, from when you know where your search area is at Palisade Cell, when you realize the map starts off at Palisade Cell, comes to Agua Fria Peak in Angel Fire, comes down, goes over to Home of Brown, which is Eagle's Nest, put in below the Home of Brown. That's what they put in. He put it in a hole, folks, at the cross at Kent and Esther. So when you come down and you realize the there, that's why he said give the poem to a child. Besides all the superheroes that I found in the books, Black Widow, Captain America, Hulk, someone said the Mirror, the Man in the Mirror is scrolling for Batman. That's a stretch, but it could be. But there's so many superheroes and so many dedications to other. Salute to a Warrior. There's the Golden Arrow. There's the Jolly Green Giant, which is the Green Giant superhero. And Forrest Fenn said it. All the men behind me are heroes, including the Jolly Green Giant. He let us know right there all of the superheroes that we needed to be looking for in the books. You know what? I haven't looked it up yet. Candy Ann. That's what the Jolly Green Giant was called. I believe he brought that in the third book too. Candy Ann. That might be a superhero. I didn't even look it up. There's so many other things that I've been concentrating on. And there's so many other superheroes that you can find inside of his stories. I've already found the Golden Arrow. I already found the Milkman Man. I've already found Ben Underwood, which is incredible for a human being, regular person that became a superhero to people that knew him by the clicking sound. And he's talking about his typewriter clicking. And all of these, when you know what to look for inside of Forrest Fenn's stories, it comes clear. And that's that level that I talk about that you need to get to understand what Forrest Fenn created and built in these 15 years. It is so friggin' amazing and so interconnected. But unless you look at it from a different point of view from what you have, the searchers, and what I'm talking about, the searchers and the vloggers who think they're solvers, you need to open your mind and accept that other people are going to see this. And as far as the Fenn community, I don't feel like they're my group that is important. I've reached out. When I started, I reached out to anybody and everybody to understand and pull this in, but it was so scattered. But now that I realized I needed to organize it and to give the information out understandably, that's what's going to matter. That's what matters to understanding the different layers, to understanding that level that Forrest Fenn's mind was at. It's actually pretty much going into Forrest Fenn's mind and seeing how he created and brought in 15 years. The different layers, like I said, is Palisades. There's 13 of them in the stories. The mixed up words, Pleiades and Palisade. Those two words right there, it shows Forrest Fenn fishing in Pleiades on the cover of the third book. But the mixed up words, it's Palisade. It's not Pleiades. And it shows him fishing through a picture of Avalanche Lake in the book, which is another Palisade. That was another one. It shows him fishing, this little stick figure, fishing right through Palisade. A Palisade at Avalanche Lake. It was so at a different level. And a lot of the vloggers, I understand that you don't see it. I totally understand, because you have, I guess, like brain block of what you think it's supposed to be. So I feel like I'm bantering back and forth, like the turkeys at the beginning of this video. I say something and I blah, 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 blah. They all come back. Like wow, like I'm just trying to give out information. They're trying to get out information. So I'm not mad at anybody. I understand. The only ones I'm mad at are the ones in the corrupt sections of the vlogging community that you will see in my comments. Those are the ones that are trying to shut down the actual true solve from everybody seeing it. So what I needed to do is get to a better place, a nicer place that gives out information. Again, I'm not here to blame. You guys will do that when you see that I'm the actual solver and what really happened and how I got screwed over and how actually everyone got screwed over by that chest disappearing from Palisade Sill where the cross was that had Kent and Esther. That right there, when they took it from that spot, we all were ripped off somehow. So that's what you folks will look into after I prove in my layers video what the actual, how he brought it in, all the different layers. And I see that. When I see a story and he's talking about something, I'll try to give you another quick example. I've been working on the first story in the second book, and I'm already at 35 superheroes that I've pulled out of the different stories. Individual ones, but it's gone into other books. Like I said, they crisscross and come through. He talks about heroes. There's, I believe, a couple dozen heroes that he brings up in his stories. And it's so cool. But when I read this to you, you're not going to see it the same way. But he said, I scraped through the dirt on the south side of the porch with a small hand tool. One cannot imagine my thrill when two old friends were uncovered. I'll concede that I stole both my little airplane and single-shot cap pistol from the property. Okay, see, everybody else takes that as the little toys. Toys are Forever, I believe that's what the name is, right? Yeah. So, but when I read it, he says, a few years ago, when no one was around, I scraped through the dirt on the south side of the porch. Okay? Palisade Sill is his second home in the wilderness. That's where when he incorporates these little sayings out of a paragraph into, this is the backstory, the second meaning, my 2 cents. When he talks about all of these things, that story actually has a Black Widow in it. That's what he says, the Black Widow under the porch and Neverland. This is all dealing with superheroes and movie stars and Dancing with the Stars. So to understand that concept, looking at the actual solve, that's when you're going to start seeing things line up and go, that makes sense. That makes sense. This makes sense. Him bringing that in, yes. But he scraped through the dirt on the south side of the porch. So where the cross is, you're on the south side of the highway in Palisade Sill, across from and up behind you is where his hidden area was, where the fire pit was. So I see, okay, he's scraping in the dirt where the Kent and Esther cross is next to that parking lot, right? Because he says, I scraped through the dirt on the south side of the porch with a small hand tool. One cannot imagine my thrill when two old friends were uncovered. So we're trying to figure out who the two important people are in the thrill of the chase, in the whole, who the two important people are. It's Clark Kent and Aunt Esther. And that's what he's talking about, the thrill of the chase. The thrill of finding his two old friends, okay, scraping in the dirt on the south side of the porch. The porch is your entry where you go in. It was where he would go up to his hidden area. It's where he would go in to fish under Palisade Sill. If you read Flywater again, that story specifies, if you look at all the theirs he calls in that story, he's talking about Palisade Sill, the flurry of fishermen. So one cannot imagine my thrill when two old friends were uncovered. Okay, if you look at the story, Looking for Lewis and Clark, he talks about the discovery, the core of discovery. It's the corpse of discovery. He said the wonderful corpse of discovery. That's what he talks about in Lewis and Clark, and it's Lois and Clark, Clark Kent. That is the magic in Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt. When you understand that's what he was leading to in all of these stories, that is one whole layer is Clark Kent. All of the different superheroes that he brings in is because of Clark Kent. That's why I've found so many so far, and I'm pretty much halfway through. So there's probably going to be 75 to 100 of the superheroes or superhero connections somehow. But this one, he's talking about his two old friends. And one cannot imagine the thrill when two old friends were uncovered. When someone finally realizes who the two old friends were, Clark Kent and Aunt Esther. But he concedes that I stole both my little airplane, which is Superman, it's a bird, it's a plane, and single-shot cap pistol from the property. Forrest Fenn used the Ken and Esther, the canasta, just like Fred Sanford did in Sanford and Son. There was a clipping, and I'll probably put it on here.
And your eyes so blue.
They wasn't blue, they were brown.
How'd you like two black ones? Dressed in gingham.
That was polyester, sucker.
Yeah, polyester, that's you. Half woman, half parrot.
About him talking about Fred Sanford saying, Esther said that wasn't silk, that was polyester, you fool. And he said, yeah, half woman, half parrot, just like you. That's what Forrest Fenn stole the canasta from. It's beautiful when you see it. Folks will see it that don't have in their mind that it's somewhere in Wyoming. They will understand that cross with Kent and Esther. Esther is the homely girl on the cross in Vietnam. Look at read my war for me. And these will be in my layers, how important that cross was to Forrest Fenn. It ate away at him on how he could incorporate it. And then he finally realized how, and when he finally realized how he could, he said... So now, at last, at least for me, I know. And if no one should ever think of me when I have passed this veil, it will be of no consequence, for I have finally found my way, and I am at peace with all of it. Forrest Fenn said the same words. He's pulling in because he made a cross that you connect the names, and there's other lines in the different stories where he says when those two are joined together again. And I melded the thoughts when I was in the airplane about the cross. He said when the cross came back into my life years later, I melded the thoughts together. There's so many different clues so far spread out that I was just spurting out. But when you put them together and understand that Clark Kent and Aunt Esther are the gold, that is everything that Forrest Fenn created. That right there, there's no denying. There is going to be hundreds and hundreds of things that I have found to validate the Clark Kent and Aunt Esther. Besides the homely girl, it's so obvious. And the Fenn vloggers that say they have a solve, that want to go against me with the 50,000, I have no doubt. I have no problems doing that. I could come up with the money. I'm not worried about that. It's having the actual facts to back up what you're saying. You can come up with 9 clues. They pull 9 lines out and say, oh, it lines up here. That's where it's supposed to be. There's so much more involved with Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt. That's why I call it the treasure hunt legacy. Because unless you know what to look for inside of the story, when he says, my memoir, the thrill of the chase is the actual ravine that goes up to his hidden area. That's what the thrill of the chase is. And he talks about cars whizzing by was part of the thrill. That's the road right there in the middle. When from his hiding area, where the blaze was, is the end of his rainbow, where he'd cook his rainbow trout, you come down, look quickly down your quest to cease. Quest to cease. Cease is T.S. Eliot, where he says you're going to end up back where you started. You're going to go back down to the parking lot where you started. It's so interconnected beautifully, but only one person sees it all, and that is me. But I'm trying to get my information out in an organized fashion. So when you understand inside the poem, when he's giving you that short little map from your search area, okay, if you've been wise and found the blaze, which I did, the fire pit, you look quickly down, which is this steep hill in the front that's too steep to climb down. You have to go back down the chase or the trench that's on the side and get back down to the parking lot. And then you carry scant. You go across the short parking lot with Marvel Gaze is Palisades in front of you. The Marvel Gaze is Palisades still. I didn't even put that in my Palisades, but that's another Palisade. That would be 14. But Marvel Gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So when you cross that parking lot, that cross is sitting right there waiting for you to find and go, Kent and Esther. Who the heck are Kent and Esther? I found that cross without knowing who Kent and Esther were. That because of Canasta. That was the beauty of it. And that's when I contacted Forrest Fenn in July of 2019 and said, hey, this is it. I said, but you know the problem? Nobody believed me. My family didn't believe me. My girlfriend didn't believe me. The two friends that I had in New Mexico did not believe me. My son didn't believe me. Nobody believed that I could solve this treasure hunt. So that puts doubt inside of your head. So I dug a little bit, but I'm thinking I'm risking a 20-year career in less than a year to retire. So I didn't fully do it with my shoulder injury and my career. I just let Forrest know that the final resting place had been found. And I'm the guy that Forrest Fenn was waiting for to say, yes, Forrest, I dug it up. That is what the situation turned out to be. Everybody wonders why all of these things that Forrest Fenn did, or all of from the timeline of July in 2019, everything that happened after that point, everybody goes, why? That doesn't make sense. Why was there a letter that Forrest Fenn tried to send to Shiloh and went to Pam? Why was this? Why was that? Why did Forrest want to end the treasure hunt? Because he knew the final resting place had been found. But me waiting, that was my choice. I knew that the Ring of Rocks was still there at that cross for somebody else to solve this poem. But when it's solved and said it was in Wyoming, that's when I stood up and I got angry. I got mad. I'm like, you guys are lying. Why are you lying? I know what the actual solve is. I know what the proof is. So that's why I went into finding out who Kent and Esther were. And oh my God, talk about layers of different things. Forrest Fenn has the Palisades, okay? The Chase, a memoir. If you look up William Zinsser, is a window into a life. Window is your clues in the book to find out where the treasure was. That's another whole layer. Forrest Fenn said she just stood there staring out the window as if she was waiting for the postman or something. So me, I see, okay, she's staring out the window, so she's at Palisade still, waiting for the postman. You have Devil's Mailbox, which is up there. That is the connections that I see. That is at a different level. When I read these stories and I pull it together, and believe me, it's not to pick on any of the other vloggers that believe they have the right solve. You do not have the right solve. It is, I'm sweating my ass off here. I should have put the AC on, but you wouldn't hear me. Whew. The other vloggers, my heart goes out to you. I understand that you don't see this because your head is wrapped around your own solve. and you banter back and forth with me. And I'm not going to banter anymore. Anybody that makes a comment from here on in, I'll take the $50,000 bet with any of the vloggers that have the solve, because I know that I'm going to end up winning it, because I can prove this, and it's validated inside the books. That's what you have to validate it with. It's not coming up with 9 lines going, this is where it is. I know it is, because the 9 lines work out. There's so much more involved inside of these books that Forrest Fenn wrote that is in my layers video. And that's what I'm showing you. The windows are Palisade sill. Window sill, Palisade sill. And he said that at the Caddy Railroad. He'd open the window and rest his head and put his pillow on the sill. That's how he said that. So that you know, he would put his pillow on the sill. And window is your connection to it. So when he brings up windows, he's talking about Palisade sill. He didn't say I put my pillow on the window sill. He said I would open the window and I would put my pillow on the sill. This, again, is at a different level. That if you cannot accept or comprehend how he put all of these things together, then you're not going to see it. And I may have picked on a lot of the other vloggers way back because I saw it. I saw how this all worked out, but explaining it was the hardest thing to do. Getting banter back and forth. You're getting your balls busted, trying to say something. You know you're right, but people just won't listen. They just will not hear it. And that's what I have to overcome. I have to be me again. I have to be my good, jolly, happy self and kind and understand that people don't understand it. For me to get my point across. I get mad at the frustration because half of these vloggers that are busting my balls and doing all the crap that they do on my channel are the evil that is trying to stop this information from coming out. I'm all done. I don't care about them. I probably won't answer them. I just delete them. And they go, oh, Dave's deleting emails. Oh, Dave's deleting messages. Big deal. You're an a-hole that's just trying to discredit the actual true solve that people should know. This right here, when I originally said, hey, I'm the solver, I have the answers to the poem, someone sent me a message. If you have the actual answer to the poem, it's worth $1 million. I thought, I don't know if it's worth $1 million. I mean, I know the answer. I know what the final resting place is. I know what it is. I see it worth about $500,000. That's what I saw it. But now knowing what this actual true solve is and the layers incorporated inside of like a backstory, if you understand, when you see the layers, you will know what to look for in the books. And then you can find more things. I'm sure there's more superheroes. Forrest Fenn would put things like this. This is the airplane for Superman. This is the cap pistol for like that. How Aunt Esther was like a whip, like a pistol coming back with different one-liners to Fred Sanford. And the golden arrow. When he puts up things in his books, he'll have an extra picture of certain things. Like, see, there's a corncob pipe there. There might be a superhero corncob pipe. I don't even know. He has a razor when he talks about Sargent's habitat. I looked it up quick. There's a razor superhero, but I didn't even get involved with that. There's so many different things. You folks could find those things if you know what you're looking for in his stories. That's when what is important is Dancing with the Stars. If you read his stories again, okay, and you understand how important it was that Forrest Fenn mingled with all of these stars and the different things he says, that's a whole different layer right there. All of the comments and things that he makes about, I wish it was a star like Errol Flynn. All the world's a stage. He said, oh, I'd sing O Sole Mio to my family. This is all and everybody being an asterisk, okay? Asterisk is, I see it. I see all those things pulled together. But there's so many layers that I have to explain in videos, and it's probably going to be part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. I would love to put it all in a 4, 5, 6 hour video, but I think it's going to be more because of how many layers there are out of these 15 years, folks. So that's what I'm trying to get across. As far as the map, that is it. It's Agua Fria Peak, Eagle's Nest, Palisade Sill. That's what you can fit on a Post-it, okay? But the actual map inside of the whole poem, that's it. It only goes to like clue number 5. And then you're boots on the ground looking for the blaze. And I did it in 3 days. I found it in a day and a half, doing 129. On my phone, I did 129 floors, climbing Palisade Sill, everywhere to find where the actual blaze was, the Forrest Fenn was talking about. And it's across from Palisade Sill. So you have the view. There's a little sitting rock. You have the view to look down the canyon. You have the view to look straight across at Palisade Sill. It's beautiful up there. And there's a little fire pit that is his blaze. That is the missing blaze. And Forrest Fenn, a month. Folks, this is what's important. Okay? When I found that blaze in 2017, it was November 1st, 2017. December 2017 is when Forrest Fenn, a month after I sent him a picture of the Nook rock, that people talk about a Nook. That's the Nook that Forrest Fenn probably said, that's the rock structure that's about 30 feet away from the blaze up on that plateau. Okay? But please, anyone that wants to go look at this, it may be destroyed. Okay? Just to let you know. It may be destroyed by the evil that I mentioned. The cross and the little ring of rocks down near the parking lot is probably destroyed by the evil people that I talked about. But I have the coordinates on my phone. So please, if you're going to go up that little trench, the chase that leads up to that fire pit, please consider being as careful as you can, because there's a lot of downed trees in there. And you actually have to go up to the right and then circle over to the left and climb up the steeper part to get to the top of the ridge. Otherwise, another easier way, it's a little bit longer, is right behind the outhouse that's in the picnic area. If you go straight up behind the outhouse and then fade to the right, you will come up to that area, and then you come back down to the front of that ridge. You'll see the ravine. If you keep bearing to the right, don't go up any steep things at the back end of it. It's only about 500 feet up. So you'll bear right, but stay back. You don't want to come to the front. You want to stay to the back. Bear right, and then you'll get onto that plateau. And there should still be the fire pit that Forrest Fenn used when he was a kid. That's where they would leave their fishing gear, up on that hill. And folks, do it that way. It's a lot safer. Go with somebody. Don't go without, if you want to see Forrest Fenn's actual true blaze. But all of this is going to be proven by the facts that are in the book that can validate every single thing that I've said. All the dates, all the information, all the pictures, I have it all. As far as this Forrest Fenn legacy, true solve, right here, right now, this is all mine, rights reserved, guaranteed. Any information on it is all my information that I have the right to do whatever I want with, because the family will not acknowledge it, because I called them out right away, because I'm a tough ass like that. So Forrest Fenn did not acknowledge Jack, folks. You know that. You know that he did not acknowledge Jack as the actual true solver. The family acknowledged him as a finder. So that's where the discrepancy was. That's where my anger came from, of being screwed over. So I pointed fingers, and I apologize for that. I apologize that I jumped right in as hard as I did to give you more information than just the actual solve. But nobody was listening anyways. They were always just bantering back and forth. like we did. We all just bantered back and forth. Well, this is the last chance that I'm putting out for any of the solvers that have a solve, or any of the vloggers that have sat back and go, you know, Dave might be onto something, but I don't understand it yet. You will. You will understand it with the way that I'm going to present it. That's the difference. Instead of yelling at everybody, it's telling at everybody. And that's what I want to do. I want to give the information in a constructive, organized, sensical way, so that you understand that this is the actual true solve, folks. That's what my passion, my anger, my kidding around, everything. I'm not that asshole that people think that I am, because I'm calling out the family. It was anger. If you got a new Porsche and somebody stole it, would you be mad at the person? Yes, but then you'd forgive them. You say, hey, you know what? I need to get beyond this. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get beyond whatever crap I've said in my other videos. And my other videos have a lot of information that I even should go back through and pick back through because of what I've learned. But I'm just going to concentrate on what I have, what I know, what the layers, and give it to all of the folks out there. So, folks, very shortly, you're going to see the layers video. Actually, maybe not very shortly. There's so much involved. It may be multiple videos, like I said, but I'm going to try to put it out understandably, and just so everybody knows. But I might do a quick video of the actual whole poem again, the way that it truly is, that I know now. Because there's certain things, like I said, I never got the opportunity to discuss this with Forrest Fenn, exactly how he meant everything. But he's the only one that would validate and can validate, and he's gone. So I am the only one that can validate what Forrest Fenn created. This level, the family does not even understand the capabilities of this level of what Forrest Fenn created. Their lawyer, McCracken, you have no clue. Barbara Anderson, you have no clue on the level of what Forrest Fenn created here. Barbara Anderson was close with the songs, if that's what she had for solve. But the actual true solve, folks, it's amazing, and I'm going to give it to you. So, folks, I am Dave Woodard, the man from back east that Forrest Fenn himself acknowledged before everything started going askew. So, I just want everybody to have a great day, and I will be back again soon. I will edit this video from the few screw-ups I had because it's a lot of information. But I appreciate you watching. I thank you all. I'm not mad at the vloggers. This is the last time, and either you are going to understand somewhat and say, you know what? I shouldn't bust his balls. He doesn't bust my balls unless I bust his balls. So we're a community. We're supposed to be a community, but I don't feel like I'm involved with this community. I'm going straight. Once I get these layers video, I'm going straight to Josh Gates Nation. Those are the people who are going to appreciate what Forrest Fenn built here. And apparently, from what I've seen, the vloggers, they don't want to know